Ecclesiastes. If there is a book in the Bible you can go to and scratch your head and say, wow, where's the encouragement in that? It's Ecclesiastes. If you can go to the book of Ecclesiastes and find any gold nuggets of encouragement in the first 3 chapters, you've studied it and read it at least 15 times through, because it is the most depressing book in the Bible, in my opinion. I mean, Psalms can be depressing. This is outright just, wow, really? I mean, Jonah's pretty bad too, but Ecclesiastes chapter 1, and I'm just kind of going to introduction to the book and kind of showing what's going on here. And I'll read it in verse number 1. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. Obviously we know that's Solomon, right? Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. Wow, could you be any more cheerful? What profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh. But the earth abideth forever. The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasteth to his place where he arose. The wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again unto its circuits, according to its circuits. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. How? Unto the place from whence the rivers come. Thither they go again. It's a pretty cool word, thither. Verse number 8. All things are full of labor. Man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with the head with hearing. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old time, which was before us. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. I, the preacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem, and I gave my heart to seek and search out by wisdom concerning all things that are done under heaven. This sore travail hath God given to the sons of men to be exercised therewith. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered. I communed with my own heart, saying, Lo, I am come to great estate, and have gotten more wisdom than all they that have been before me in Jerusalem. Yea, my heart had great experience of wisdom and knowledge, and I gave my heart to know wisdom, and to know madness and folly. I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Wow. I mean, that guy needed a serious Hallmark greeting card. I mean, this guy had the most down lip, down the mouth thing. And when I read this passage this past week, I was reading it, and I was like, I want to find something that I could preach, something different. And going through the Bible and just asking the Lord, where would you have me to go? And I came across Ecclesiastes, started reading it, and I was just like, wow. Monday, I was like, this is just depressing. I was just beside myself. This is just intense. Tuesday, I started reading it. I was reading it, and I was up in Amish country, and I was out in the middle of nowhere, and I was looking up, and it was 8 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock in the morning, and I was sitting in the car waiting for the other guy to get back, and I was looking up, and I saw the moon. And the sun was, sun was here, and the moon was here, and I was looking at the moon, and the moon was just kind of it went from a full moon, from 3/4 moon, to a half moon, to a silver moon, and then it just disappeared. Where'd it go? It was still bright, the brightest it's going to be. Where'd the moon go? It just, what in the world? And I was looking at that, thinking about this past week, and then today I was finishing up part of my duties, and I was sitting there for a couple seconds, and I was pulled my cell phone out and started reading the Bible again, in this chapter again, and I was like, man, this is rough. In between reading Bible and being spiritual, I also went on a Netflix binge because I was bored half to death, and I watched the entire trilogy of Matrix. And I'm telling you, if there is ever a biblical movie about the subject, it's The Matrix. It has the Trinity in there, so it's all good, right? But it's in this movie, he's going in and he's trying to find out the way how to defeat the machines from stopping and killing off all the humans. And in this part of the movie, he's going and he starts talking to the architect, or the designer. And he's sitting there talking to him, and the guy says, There have been other people like you. This is not something new. He says, this is not something new. This is something that happened before. In fact, it's been used 7 times over. And it was like, not reincarnation, but it was like Groundhog Day. The same thing opens over and over again. He goes, and it always falls back to you keep on failing, you keep messing up because of your choice. I was like, how depressing. In this passage, it's not even talking about choice. What we do, well, if I would have done this differently, it would have changed the outcome. It doesn't change the outcome. And this is what Solomon says was complete vanity. I used all my wisdom that God gave. God said, hey, what do you want? Riches? You want increased kingdom? What do you want? He says, I want wisdom. And all of the wisdom that God gave him, he was the wisest man. Out of all the wisdom that God gave him, he took all the supplied wisdom that God had given him, and he put it to study to figure things out. And he said, it is vanity. Chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Wow. I mean, just sitting back saying, what was the point? It's useless. Number one, we see we're living in this matrix, living this thing of constant renewal. Same thing, same day, day in and day out. We see weather. The sun rises, the sun falls. You could plot the sunrise, and by tomorrow it's a whole new sunrise, so a whole new sunset. You can look at the sunset, it'll be a whole new sunrise. You think you got it figured out, it's a whole new system. The only thing we know is that the sun appears to rise in the east and appears to set in the west. That's all we know. The sun's going to come up, the sun's going to go down. That's all we know. The sun goes in the sky, the sun goes in the water. That's all we know. It goes up and down, up and down. That's all we know about the sun, right? And then we think about the rain. We know about the water circuits, right? Every bit of Tuscarawas River flows into wherever, and it flows into whatever, and sooner or later it flows to the Gulf of Mexico, right? Then what? It becomes rain. Precipitation, evaporation, goes in the skies, circulation, brings about. What happens? Boom, it rains. Then what happens? It goes into the rivers, it goes into the creeks, it goes into people's yards, it goes into the water channels, it gets put into the rivers, it gets brought into the Gulf, it goes into the sea. Circle, 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 circle. It's a circle, constantly, it never ends, it doesn't stop. And you stop and think about that, it's like, wow, where does this end? There's a building down the road, and it's like right against the Tuscarawas River, but this point is only a creek. It's like a little tiny creek, little tiny portion of water. And it's for rent. And I'm like, that'd be pretty cool. We just block it off and dam it off and say, this is going to be our baptism, and just boom, ready for the next time. We don't have to heat it or nothing. And I was thinking about it, I was like, how cool would it be if I just put a boat in there and see if I could send it to myself, since I'm right off the Tuscarawas River. How long would it take to get there? And Brother Doug's like, that'd be really cool. Let's get a GPS tracker and put a rubber ball. That'd be really cool. We can make that happen. And he's going along with me. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's going to get down to the river, and then the water's going to get to the river, and then it's going to flow to the sea, and then it's going to, where does it go? It goes back to its currents. It goes back to the same cycle. You can't control it. The wind, it blows where it's will. It blows where it's going to blow. And you think about the weather, it's vanity. We sit there trying to study weather patterns. Well, it's going to be sunshine today. You get on the TV and you're the weatherman. It's going to have sunshine today. And it's like outside, it's like thunder and lightning. And there's like no chance of sun in sight. He goes, you won't need your umbrella today, folks. And he goes outside. He's like, oh, man. I did not predict that one. But it's like you can't control these things. You can't even control the weather. You think you can figure it out. You can't. Astronomy, stars, planets. You think you've got it figured out. You don't, right? It's all a wild guessing game. With all the wisdom that we have, we can't control the tornadoes. With all the weather with all the knowledge and all the technology we have, we can do nothing when a hurricane strikes. We can shoot it down with nukes. Who had that idea? You can't shoot it down with nukes. You can't do anything to stop hurricanes. It's not about global warming. It's not about climate change. If God says there's going to be a hurricane, there's going to be a hurricane. We can't stop it. We can only look at it and figure it out. I remember we were in Florida. Hurricane Charlie, the weather map had and it's always fun to look at the hurricane maps because it's always like spaghetti noodles. And then when it gets closer, they go, and when it hits landfall, it's nowhere near where they said it was. Hurricane Charlie was like that in Florida. It was supposed to go to the Gulf of Mexico and go up towards Tampa. First, it was supposed to go north up towards Gainesville. That's where it was supposed to go. And then it made a little bit of a jog, and it kind of went more towards New Orleans. I was like, okay, Florida's going to escape it completely altogether. And then it literally got off the expressway, did a loop, whoop, and went straight towards Fort Myers, Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, where we went to live later on. We had no one was ready for that thing because none of the weather modules even had a hint that it was going to do that. We can have all this technology to predict things, but it's all vanity. It's useless. What's the purpose of watching the weather if we have no idea what it's supposed to be? It's vanity, right? Then he says, work. It's the same day. It's the same thing, week work in and week out. It's vexation of the spirit. It's vanity. It's altogether vanity. He says here in verse number 8, all things are full of labor. Man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. All you see, its labor is useless. You'll never have something you can fix it. Everything of being a farmer, right? You're going to be a dairy farmer, right? You're going to be a dairy farmer. You're out there to milk the cows. Guess what? Come evening time, guess what's going to happen again? Those cows need to get milked. They got to get relief. It's the Milky Way. You're going to have to happen this way it goes. So you go to... Isn't this curd your milk? Isn't this kind of... Anyways, that was kind of cheesy. I better stop. But anyways, milk jokes have no culture. Anyways, but it does the same thing day in and day out. It's like the same thing, and there's you've heard the saying before, same day, another dollar. Another day, another dollar, right? Same thing. What a rut. What a rut. Working with people in the ministry, right? It's like you talk to people and it's like, hey, we got this problem. Okay, here's how you're going to handle it. The next day, hey, I've got this problem. Okay, here's how you're going to handle it. Whether it's this person or the next person, it's like, does anyone not pay attention ever? I remember when I was in New York, I had the same situation. When I was in Florida, I had the same situation. And people came up with problems and it's like, hey, this is how the Bible says to handle it. The next week, hey, I've got a problem. Okay, this is still the same way the Bible says. Well, how do I know? Like, have you tried it yet? Have you tried using God's methods? No. The girls will ask you a question. They'll ask it every other way you can. And then it's like we have to answer it with this is what I'm saying. What do you mean by that? What I'm saying is this. What I'm implying is, what I'm referring to is this. What I'm hinting at is this. And so you can say it a million times until you finally realize, just practice what I'm telling you to do. It'll be okay. Work is the same way. If you go and try cutting you're going to go, machine breaks down. Sean's got to go fix it. He fixes it. A week later, machine breaks down. Maybe not that machine, but this machine. Same thing, day in, day out. It's like, seriously, same thing, week in, week out. What a rut. And Solomon says, hey, I've tried making things better, and it's all together vanity. I've sat down and thought it out. I did a think tank. I sat down and brainstormed. I sat down and figured things out, what the best way to do things was. I've got a master plan, and it's all together vanity. Have you ever had a master plan? Have you ever had a road trip? Anyone ever taken a road trip? You're about to, right. So you're going on the road trip, you got everything laid out. You got your bags all packed, you got your suitcase laid out, you got some cash money, you got a full tank of gas, you check your tires so you don't worry about getting tires. You've done all this work, you got an oil change, you're ready to go. You get down the road, and it's like, oh, I forgot my insulin. Or, oh, I forgot my pillow. Or I forgot this, or I forgot my wallet. Or I forgot my kids. And I said, whatever it is, we forget something, we have to go back and get them, right? Or we get down the road, and 5 minutes down the road, boy, our tire blows out. Or, no, this is better yet. You get down the road about an hour, and there's major road construction. And you're like, wow, this is a fun way to start. And you're like, you know what, I'm on map. Remember when triptychs were the best thing to go, like MapQuest? Like, AAA had triptychs. And you basically had mini maps of where you wanted to go, right? They provided it for you, called ahead of time, this is where I want to go. They gave you the best routes, no construction. They get this thing printed out for you. You get down the road, and boom, right on Highway 33. Hey, there's road construction. Had a washout the night before the bridge. Sorry, there's a 30-minute detour. And you're trying to pinpoint mileage to gas. At the end of the day, it's altogether just vanity. You can have all the knowledge in the world, all the wisdom in the world, and it does not mean you escape life. Am I depressing you? It's like, man, well, there is no hope. It's like, this is what Solomon was preaching. The wisest man outside of Christ that walked the face of the earth said it's altogether vanity. It's a vexation of spirit. Thirdly, he looked at wisdom. If I can't fix the weather, I can't fix work, can't fix society, I can possibly just work with my wisdom and make it fit for me. He cannot fix things. He says in this passage, I have seen all the works that are under the sun, And behold, it is all vanity and vexation of spirit. He says in verse 15, that which is crooked cannot be made straight. I know Pastor Boyle has a thing, make America straight again, right? And I know that is the Gnostic great big conference. But guess what? You can't make things crooked that are straight. Things that are crooked cannot be made straight. Can't do it. No matter how hard you try. Things that are crooked cannot be made straight. Things that are bent, the things that are messed up. I mean, we're talking about back alignments. We're talking about things that are crooked cannot be made straight. Crooked politicians cannot be made straight. Remember back in the early 2000s, maybe even last decade, they had this whole idea of scared straight, right? And it wasn't talking about homosexuals. It was talking about bad kids being sent to adult prisons, trying to scare them straight, trying to scare them from not going to life of crime. And this big tattooed guy, you think funny being locked in here? I tell you what, kids, either get your life right, and they put this camera crew in this guy, and they're trying to scare people straight. Guess what? You can put your fear into them, but you can't put the fear of God into someone. Being a parent, we've understood that. You cannot put the fear of God into that kid. That kid's got to have the fear of God put into themselves. It's almost like raising pups. Okay, it's the same thing. You cannot teach them anything. It's against their character. That which is crooked. If their heart is evil, if their heart is wicked, you cannot make it straight. And no amount of wisdom, the word fitly spoken, the things you want to fix, no amount of counsel, self-help books, no amount of church, you can't church it out of people. If a person is crooked, they'll never become straight. That's rough. The only way it's going to happen is for a person to be born again. They can't fix things. With all this wisdom, with all this knowledge, what good is wisdom if we cannot control the outcome? And that's what Solomon is saying here. I have all this wisdom, and I cannot control the outcome. I have all this knowledge, all this wisdom, all this understanding, all this brain knowledge, all this intelligence, and I know what to say, how to say it, but it will not fix the outcome. Can't do it. Won't fix it. Won't do it. What good is wisdom? What good is wisdom if I can't do anything with it? For in much wisdom is much grief. Because you see it. You see the wisdom. You see people going the wrong way. I wish they would just listen to me. You know what? They won't. Until it's too late. They got to be drugged through the mud for a while. They got to get knocked down. They got to get their teeth knocked out, bloody, battered. And it's like, oh. With all this wisdom is much grief. And he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Because the more you have knowledge, the more you have wisdom, you see what needs to be done, you see what could be done differently, and you cannot do anything with it. And it's vexation, it's sorrow, it's frustration, it's vanity, it's vexation of spirit. It's just, oh, what a grind. And you see the same thing over and over again. There's another phrase people use, deja vu. Right? I've seen this before. It's deja vu, right? Yogi Berra, not the cartoon, the catcher for the Yankees, said this one time. It's like deja vu all over again. That was kind of funny. It's like deja vu all over again. But you see the same thing day in, day out. Another day, another dollar. And it's like, when does it end? And you see this, it's that same cycle. Well, why does it ever stop? It's nothing I can do to fix it. There's not a magic button that says, okay, which way book? I'm going to keep on doing a loop. Well, I think I've passed this tree before. Which way am I going to go? It's not a matter of decisions that we make that gets us out of the trouble. It's literally about our mindset. It's about our heart's focus. And as we get to the book of Ecclesiastes, you see Solomon. So we're on this journey together in this introduction. Everything he's tried has failed. And he's starting to realize some things. Hey, I said in my heart, go to now, I'll prove thee with myrrh. Therefore enjoy pleasure, and behold, this is also vanity. Hey, you know what? Things are going to be rough. You know what? Just do things that are enjoyable. You know what? Work is hard enough. Go enjoy yourself. Eat, drink, be merry. You know what? That's also vanity. I've got personal responsibilities. I don't have time for vacation. You know what? That's vanity. Hey, you know what? I want to go. I don't want to work. I just want to backpack across Eastern Europe. Vanity. I want to be cool if I just won a lottery and didn't have to work a day in my life. Vanity. Well, I don't have time to play. I've got to work hard. Vanity. I want to get this job and have a career. Vanity. I don't want to work. I just want to stay home and eat Cheetos and watch YouTube videos. Vanity. And if anything, for the past 8 weeks, we have seen America be fed up with leisure. This is going to be great. I don't have to work. I can work from home. This is going to be great. After day 3. This is vanity. This is so dumb, man. I just want to have something to do. I can't go nowhere. Day 5, week 2, they're talking about mental health issues. We got to really just, mental health issues are really high, all-time high. The guy committed suicide. No, COVID-19. But that's what happened. They got so tied up with the vanity. They started looking at, hey, I can live a life of leisure. Well, what do you do when all your life of leisure is done? COVID-19 has made marriages and has broken marriages. In 2 months' time, people are filing for divorce. They're getting out of marriages because they've been stuck living at home with the same person for 2 months. With no boys' night out, no girls' night out, no pulling an all-nighter at work, no basketball, no football games, no shopping sprees, no she shed or man caves. There's no she shells. None of that. And he says it's all vexation. There's been this, and you've seen that for the past 2 months. It's all just vexation of spirit. If I stay home, I won't get COVID. And then people stay home and they got COVID. So, vexation. Wait a second. You're saying if I don't go outside, you're going to come to me anyway and make me get COVID so you can test me for COVID. Why am I stuck at home? Wait, you're saying that if I just wear a mask, I could go out in public anyway? But if I don't wear a mask, I can't go. Wait a second. You're trying to say you shut down the economy for 2 months? You shut down businesses and put me out of work, put me behind the arrears on all my bills for 2 months and take me to live on my savings and drain my savings account because I couldn't go outside wearing a mask. I couldn't go to a store wearing a mask. But now I can go to the store wearing a mask. I can go to work wearing a mask and having social distancing. Well, that was stupid. That was useless. And if we've ever understood anything in the past 2 months, it's vanity. It's uselessness. Healthcare system. Oh, you got a toothache? You need to see a dentist. Oh, your foot doctor? We got a bunion on your foot? You need your nails clipped? We should definitely schedule an appointment to go see a podiatrist. Oh, your eyes? Yes, we should go and have our eyes checked. Yes, it's important that everybody out there has driver's licenses and make sure they're. This is my wife. My wife, for instance, has this great problem. Her license expired because her birthday was in March, and she turned. And so now she can't go get her driver's license renewed because it's not open. Well, is it that really necessary, important for us to get our driver's license renewed every year? Can't we space it out to I don't know, or how many years they give us, 3 or 4 years? Couldn't you just space it out 20? Why do you have to get renewed every year? Why do I have to have my plate renewed every year? What purpose is that? It's all vanity and vexation. Why do I have to go and do this and go to pay this bill or go do this at a certain time? What purpose is it? It's all together vanity. And he said it's not essential. Well, driver's licenses aren't essential, but yet if I didn't have a driver's license, I was pulled over, I get arrested. It sounds to me like it's vanity. And if anything, we've sat back in this past 2 months, and we sat back and figured out what is essential and what is not. What is necessary, what is vanity, and what is not. Sadly, churches being closed is necessary, but ABC liquor stores is not. Yeah. Vanity. Because happiness is found in the bottom of a barrel. At the bottom of a barrel. Really problem. Out of a fit, right? Out of the bottom of a... Really? Well, church property is not important. We can have church without walls. Pentecostals have been saying that for 20-something years. 30-something years. We don't need the 4 walls of church to be a church. We are the church. We don't need to assemble. We're a church without walls. And now Baptists are saying we can have church live stream. Really? It's vanity. How do I know? Because if I get up there and start preaching on YouTube, or get up there preaching on FaceTime, on Facebook, or on and I start preaching against the homosexuals, and I start preaching against murders and hormones, and I start preaching what God says is outright vile and contemptible in His eyes, YouTube says, "Oh, censored. It's against community standards." Oh, Facebook says, "Oh, censored. Against community standards." Well, what is the point of having church if I can't have free speech? If I can't speak to things without repercussion, without being censored, and on live stream, why can't I just meet in church and have the same problem? It's always like vanity. It's useless. It's vanity. It's stupid. It's stupid to lower gas prices to $1 for a gallon of gas if you can't go nowhere. It's vexation of spirit. And you look at Ecclesiastes and say, man, Solomon, man, you're really bitter. Man, did you need a hug? Someone give him a Snickers. He's not himself when he's cranky, And then we sit down and look at it like, wow, he was actually right about this. Ignorance is bliss. If I don't know nothing, I'm okay to go. But he's just living in that same rut, day in and day out. It's in that matrix. And in that same thing, you can't fix it, but yet you're held responsible. Oh, it's burdensome. That's Ecclesiastes chapter 1. It's kind of fun to get into it. But look how much she says. It's like, oh, man. I'm glad that it's not just me who feels that way. I'm glad it's just not me looking and saying, oh, wow, it's not just me. It's not me, Dr. Spock. It's literally it's something more beyond this. It's something we can't control. Being torn between two decisions and realizing, regardless of what decision I make, it's going to be the same thing tomorrow. That stack of wood, and I move over here, it's going to have me move from here to there. It's regimented. It's going to happen. You're a tire mechanic, you're a tire mechanic. You're a tire engineer, you're a tire changer, you're a tire guy. You know what? Tomorrow, rubber meets the road, you're doing the same thing all over again. Same thing. Everything we do is a cycle. That's encouraging, isn't it? I just want to have a day of no mistakes. Guess what? Tomorrow's it. And you'll make fun of, you'll make fun of them. And you may even learn from today, but guess what? You'll still make mistakes tomorrow. You know why? Because it's vanity. Our best is vanity. Our best state is altogether vanity. That's encouraging. That's pretty cool. Anyways, that's all I got for tonight. Take your Bibles and go to Ecclesiastes chapter 1.